A year ago, satellite TV company Dish shook up the Consumer Electronics Show by rolling out the Hopper, a DVR that automatically skips commercials. Customers love the idea, but the networks, from CBS to NBC to Fox, understandably hate it. They filed lawsuits to protect ad revenue. Did Dish back down? Hardly. Liz Claman with a first on Fox Business interview with the CEO of Dish. Liz.
Yeah, you know what? I have to tell you, remember last year we showed you this? This is the Hopper sort of logo. You can see it up here on the wall for Dish Networks. Yeah, they say you can have your TV anywhere. You look on the back and it said Dish Hopper. Basically what it allowed you to do was to move your DVR, whatever you DVR, to any TV. Now they've added a word, Dish Hopper with Sling. Okay, let's see what arrows are going to be slung at Dish over this one from the networks. We're joined first on Fox Business by Joe Clayton, the CEO of Dish.
Hi, Leah.
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure to see you.
Okay, so there it is, the Hopper, which was, of course, what we talked about last year. You guys are disruptors to the nth degree, aren't you?
Yes, we are. Now, what we've done here, we made the Hopper, which was good in the home with things like prime time, anytime. Now, with Hopper with Sling, you can take Dish anywhere. On the go, in an airplane, in a car, with your iPad, your tablet, or your PC. So wherever you're at, you got your content with you.
Joe, the Hopper itself became available. You unveiled it on Fox Business here at CES, but it became available in about March. What's the adoption rate from your customers, of which you have about 14 million subs?
We've now have over 2 million Hopper enjoys in the marketplace and growing like a weed.
Okay, let's show the Hopper with the Sling.
Yes,
and as
ma'am.
we walk over there, the important thing to point out is that the networks absolutely hated this. Lawsuits, including from our company Fox, but CBS as well. You know, you had Les Moonves of CBS famously say, how does Charlie Ergen, your chairman, expect me to produce CSI without commercials? Because, of course, the ad revenue creates quality programming.
That's
What's
true.
your response to that?
Well, maybe we ought to listen to what the consumer wants, is what I say. When the economy changes, technology changes, your competition changes, and consumers' taste change, you better change. So we believe that we are following what the consumer wants, like mobile entertainment. The consumer is not making a gradual shift to mobile, it's a full-blown sprint. So giving the consumer what he or she wants, I've learned a long time ago, Liz, it's a pretty good winning formula for success.
Are you going to fight the lawsuits, or eventually, is there a chance you guys and you and Charlie will settle?
Well, sure, you know, the broadcasters are our partners. We want a good relationship, but at the same time, we want to provide what's best for the consumers, and I believe there'll be a meeting of the minds at an appropriate time.
Okay, we'll see about that, but let's see the Sling. And we've got a demo here.
Well, we've got my able assistant, Laura, here. She's going to show us a little bit how Dish Anywhere works with an iPad, and then she's going to show you a little bit about how fast and user-friendly our new program interface is.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Go ahead, let's see it.
All right. Show us what we got to do here first.
But explain what she's doing.
Okay. Now she's scrolling through, making it easier for people to find their content.
Okay.
Now there's over 15,000 different content capabilities.
Sure.
So we're trying to make it easier and simpler to use. Okay, now here's a whole list of stuff. All right,
And I want
one.
to jump that to my iPad or the television set on the wall here behind her.
Exactly. And basically, we download that from the TV, in the home, onto the iPad, and then you can take the content with you. If you're flying from the West Coast back to the East Coast for some meetings, you can have your Fox favorite show, Bones is my favorite, take it with you.
Joe, my question to you is, you know, a guy like Les Moonves or the Fox lawyers do have a point. You know, you want quality programming so that you get more subscribers. So you don't want to kill that goose that lays the golden egg, right?
No, that's absolutely correct, Liz. What I think we need to do is to use the technology to make the commercials more addressable to a specific segment of the community. A family of 4 with 2 young kids will probably want a Pampers commercial, but not a Viagra commercial, for example. We believe we can use technology to better segment that market and make it more efficient and economical for the broadcaster as well.
The whole point is it completely ad skips. One last quick question. You now have a lot of bandwidth.
Oh my, there's Hopper. He's everywhere.
Hopper, hey, Hopper. You've got this bandwidth that you guys have bought, the wireless spectrum. It's now worth $12 billion. You bought it for $3 billion. Why not just sell it to a Verizon or a Sprint or somebody? Are you really going to do a wireless network?
Once again, you follow what the consumer is doing, and they're moving to wireless. We want to offer wireless voice, video,
So
and
you're not going to sell it?
That's not our plan.
How about a DirecTV merger? Is that going to happen this year, Joe?
There's a lot of speculation. You'll have to ask the pundits.
Okay. Nuts. I can try. Joe Clayton, first on Fox Business, the CEO of Dish. Once again, they are continuing to disrupt technology as they do. I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio in New York.
Liz, I want that little Hopper right there. Can you get the little small one next to you?
Okay,
I gotta have that guy right there.
It.
Yes,
I'll bring
absolutely.
It home for you.
Great interview. First on Fox. Thanks for that, and great interview on Verizon in the last hour as well. Good job. Thanks.
Okay, you want to keep it right here, Fox Business. Shivani Joshi talks to Patrick Lowe, Netgear's chairman and CEO. That's next hour, 2 p.m. Eastern. And Liz is back with the first on Fox Business interview with Curtis Jackson, otherwise known as
50
Cent. And Brian Nohe from SMS Audio on Countdown to the Closing Bell. That's at 3 p.m.
50 Cent, nice.
Well,
I love it. Yeah, she's
right.
killing it out there. All right, AIG happy to take the government bailout the company needed just a few years ago. But now the board may return the favor by suing the government, although, you know, this is all fueled by Hank Greenberg.
Right.
So it's a very complicated story.
Remember that whole we have until the end of February or even March to figure out the debt ceiling problem? Well, perhaps. Well, not so much, actually. The new warning and the risks of a U.S. default.
Come hold me tight, kiss me, my darling, be mine tonight, tomorrow.
All right, we've got Liz Claman over at NASDAQ to get a read of what's going on and how people are reacting there. Hey, Liz.
Well, you know, you were talking about how late we'll go. This is Times Square here at the NASDAQ. We're going to go on forever and ever and ever until this story is told. Yes, we are live at the NASDAQ market site, and it's actually a perfect place to give you a sense of how at least one portion of the market has done. Say, for example, the NASDAQ over the past 4 years. So this is the line here. Back in 2009, the NASDAQ level was at around 1529. Neil, yes, it's been choppy, of course, because the news flow has been so choppy. We move all the way up, and today, after today's pretty significant rally, the NASDAQ ended at 3,011. You know, here at the NASDAQ, you're talking about some 3,326 listed companies, many of them companies whom you own their products, you own their stock, Microsoft, Apple, Yahoo, Magic Jack. But let's get right to the guy who is the magic man here at the NASDAQ.
Good to see you, Liz.
This is Bob Greifeld, the CEO of the NASDAQ. Great to have you.
Glad to have you here tonight.
It's a pleasure. Look, we got the big
got the
crowd
audience
behind
here.
you. It's
Gotta
pretty
love it.
amazing. And,
Gotta love it.
you know, people descend upon this area because they get a sense from here at the NASDAQ, the business story of it. You know, you talk to so many business leaders. What has been the number one thing you've heard from NASDAQ-listed companies?
By far and away, the number one thing that business leaders are concerned about is the deficit. You have to recognize for every dollar we take in as the U.S. government for revenue, we spend $1.50. That cannot continue. You cannot have economic growth when you're spending 50% more than your revenue.
You know, people talk about the economy, unemployment, but when you talk about the debt, it's the business people who understand the ramifications and the weight of that.
Oh, definitely. Today, we're certainly free riding on the fact that we have a low interest rate environment. If interest rates were to rise, then the debt service would crowd out any investment we could make in education, infrastructure in our future. So we have to really reduce the deficit, cut down the opportunity for interest costs to really choke out any other investment we could make. People
talk about how they want to be able to hire more, but they can't because they don't have the demand for their products, except for Apple, which just sells out constantly. Apple, a NASDAQ-listed stock, as is News Corporation, the parent of our company as well. But you know, what creates demand? That's a very tricky prospect.
Well, it's a chicken and egg argument, and I think you have to look at the underlying fundamentals of what is the health of the economy, and that will determine the demand, and that will determine the supply. So the fact is you have to build this economy on a solid foundation, and I can guarantee you one thing, the economy cannot grow, will not grow over the next 4 years if we continue to spend, as I say, 50% more than the dollars we take in. The business community is going to rally behind that message post-election, which is the #1 issue on our agenda.
There are companies, NASDAQ-listed companies, that have done beautifully. And as we pointed out, the NASDAQ over President Obama's period has returned 96%. Some of the names, we can put them up on the screen, that have had unbelievable returns. I mean, I'm thinking of, well, there's Magic Jack. You know, you look at Magic Jack. There's a big advertiser for Fox Business. Be nice about this.
It's a great company, too, Liz.
4,500% return over the past 4 years. Select Comfort, 8,500%. You got Pier 1, 4,165%. You could argue that that's a discretionary company. People don't have to buy the wicker chairs if they're really scrimping. But, you know, how is it, and you've been a Romney supporter, how is it that he can do that much better? What do you think?
Well, first off, my political views are my own, and I'm not saying who I support, but I think it's important to recognize the difference between the macro environment and the micro environment. So when we talk about the deficit, that will crowd out any macroeconomic growth. Within this large economy, even if we have bad economic times and declining employment, declining GDP, you still will have the superstar companies that really have unique, innovative products. We're fortunate to have the large number of them listed here on the NASDAQ market. So I'd say it's always going to be, the exceptions will always be there, but we have to worry about all the companies and the ability for companies to really have the advantage of having a tailwind as opposed to a headwind. We have to create a tailwind environment where economic forces are working for these companies.
SiriusXM, another one that has done so well.
That it has, great product.
Listen, we all have it in our cards. Last question here. Are you optimistic no matter who wins? I mean, this is America. You talk about the heart of capitalism right here at the NASDAQ market site, Times Square out our window.
Yeah. I am optimistic. I'm also optimistic that the Congress that will reconvene in 2013 will be more of serious mind and serious purpose, and will look at the fact that we have to actually get things done. We need our policymakers to come out with reasonable policy, and I talk to them on a regular basis. They all recognize that. I think in 2013 you'll see great progress there.
Bob Greifeld,
Great.
optimistic as ever. Thank
My
you
pleasure
so
to see you,
much.
Liz.
CEO of the NASDAQ. Again, Neil, Times Square outside our window. We'll be taking you out there. We'll venture out. We'll see you in a minute.
Don't forget the falafel guy. Don't forget him.
And the dumplings.
There you go. All right. Thank you, Liz, very much. We're at 9 minutes from 3 more states closing: North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia. Of course, Ohio being very, very closely watched